Welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to be starting a new build project. We're going to be starting with this body, a BMW E30T. We got this nice little roof rack for it, a little Thule. And we're going to be working on this, building it up onto a new chassis for my girlfriend because she's been wanting to start driving too. Garage, and I got this body masked up for the most part. I'm going to have to come back through and do a little bit extra mask on the back window. But we're going to do some painting right now. I got my Iwata airbrush and we're gonna get right into it. Beginning, I just did all the trim. I just gotta clean up the inside windows after I finish the main color, and I just put a dust coat of my signature purple on here, just a real light coat. Let that dry. It's been drying for about 10-15 minutes, and now we're gonna start putting the main coat on. We got our purple base coat all layered on, about 3 coats of it. Now we're gonna back it with white and it'll be almost ready to go. Alright, so I found these BMW badges and this scale roof rack on amain.com. We're gonna get those installed next. So once those come in the mail, I will show you how they look and how they go on. And we'll start getting that roof rack put on and getting that body finished up. Alright, so I wanted to show you the paints that I used real quick. I used Createx paints across the board. The purple is this pearlized airbrush colors mixed with the pearlized white, so they make a real nice color like this. I enjoy the way it looks. I used black pearl for all the trim, but on the rears I actually went through with some vinyl to kind of make it look a little more factory, and it gives it a little bit different look than the shiny trim from the actual paint color. There is some slight imperfections in my masking, but that's kind of how it goes. I'm still learning. It's on my 2nd drift body and probably like my 8th body overall. And they keep getting better, so I'm excited to keep learning and trying it. These colors work really good. My airbrush, I'm still figuring that out. I'm new with that as well, so I'm trying to learn all the little intricacies of that. This balancing clear, if you're going to use the Createx stuff, you need to have this because this helps it stick to the plastic better, and it'll give you a better shot of having it not like peel or flake off. Reducer, you need some of that as well just to thin it out if it gets a little thick. I know the pearlized stuff is a little thicker than the non-pearlized stuff, so I always have a little bit of trouble spraying with that. So that's the paints. Let me show you. I also added these mirrors, these scale mirrors that look really cool. I just used some 3M tape to do those, to get those on. Now typically you'd want to come through with a little bit of a screw on the back side of it to really secure it, and if I can find some mini ones I will. I bet some of my crawler buddies have them laying around, so I'll get a couple of those from them. But this body's starting to look really good. The next step that we're going to work on is actually getting this roof rack installed onto it. And I got a couple parts to do that. The ones I showed you that I ordered on Amain arrived. We got these BMW badges, which are really, really cool. Super scale. So should be able to get one on the hood, hopefully, like so, and then one on this little raised area right here on the trunk for an actual emblem. So that would be really cool. Also, we got the roof rack for this Thule, the rails for the rack itself, and those look really cool. They got little painted lug nuts on them, which is super cool. So we're gonna open those up and we're gonna get right into that and see how these look and see how they go together. Now this rack is, forget who makes it. I'll try to find it though, and I'll link it if you're interested. But I picked it up from Super G, and it's a little 2-piece Thule rack, and it actually comes perfect for this body. If you go and look at it, you'll actually see this is the car they use in the picture because it's kind of the best size for it. But once that's on, we're gonna have it on a couple of these rails, and it'll be floating above like a real rack. It'll look really cool. So we're gonna get into that. Let's open this package up and see what's in it. This is from Sideways RC. There's a little code if you need it. sideways RC, scale, drift, roof rails. All right, now these come with those little mini screws, so you gotta be careful, you don't wanna lose them. So, come in two pieces. They have this little male and female end on them to line them up. And they just slide into each other like so. And you have a roof rack. Now I think this might be a little wide, but we will see. I don't think these are 3D printed. I think they're injection molded. So they're kind of soft. They're not the craziest, like most sturdy things out there. But my thought is with a little slim piece of 3M tape across this, and I'll show you I have a roll that'll work perfect. I think it'll hold it together and it'll give it a little bit more rigidity. But the first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to figure out how to get it stuck onto here, which also will probably involve 3M. I will link all this stuff in the description too that I'm using. That way it's easier if you guys need to find it or if you just want to look at it. If you do buy it though, it does help me and the channel out. I don't make any money from this. I'm just doing it for fun. So if you want to help me in some way, that would be an awesome way. All right, so let's see what this looks like. We start getting it laid out. So you can see it's a little bit wide, a bit wider than we need, which makes me wonder if I would be able to trim this out at all and shorten potentially the female side. And then if I have to, I could get a little drill and continue that little female hole down and in. But let's see. First of all, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take some tape. I'm gonna line this up where it looks good. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of tape and just mark it. And then that way I can see where I need to place these on there and then decide how much to shorten them. Okay, I grabbed a ruler. A little clear one that I can just use to make sure. I got the 3M tape I was talking about that's really thin. Should be just about enough. Even if you left a little overhanging, it wouldn't be a big deal. And then I got some masking tape to kind of dial in where I want to put this. One here and one here. I'm gonna flex these out a little bit and just try to work them a little so they're a little bit flatter, not concaved like they came from the package. Probably use a heat gun if you wanted, but you don't want to use too much. A little bit better. It's going right about there. See, that kind of fits, but it's actually really, if you're looking at it compared to this, it's really wide. So I don't need it to be that extreme. I think it would look a little bit weird. It wouldn't look that factory. So I'm going to adjust these. I'm going to cut these and figure out how to do that. On the garage where I keep all my other RC stuff. Oh, quick look at what we got here. Got a couple little crawlers, got my soldering. I got a Slash from 2011. Thing's still running like a champ. And yeah, I got some of my off-roading stuff and then the paint stuff. But I got my drill out here, so I'm gonna work on getting these cut with the saw I have, and then I'm gonna drill them out a little bit if I have to. So the way I wanna do these is I need to retain this male side right here. So I'm gonna be taking both the males, leaving them off to the side, and I'm gonna be cutting what I need off of the two females for the front and the back rail. But that'll fit, and we'll work on these. So we're gonna get to cutting. Okay, I'm gonna measure these and score them with this razor because plastic's soft and it'll be easy to do. Take off one of these full chunks. So, okay, there's one. Get this other one. They even have little depressions in them that look like they're just from the molds, and they give you a good little guide though. Alright, so I got this. I just want it to be clean. Let's see how this goes. It's working really well actually. Like so. Do that to the next one. Okay, that's both of them cut. We'll clean them up with a little bit of sandpaper, and then we'll drill those holes that we need into them. Okay. As you can see, I was dragging it nice and flat. That's how. It's the best way to make these corners kind of stay looking like corners and not all rounded over. Like, it's very easy to make them round over, so you just gotta be careful. All right, next we're gonna try to drill this with this little baby drill bit. Okay, so we should be good. Here's one side, here is the other. Yep, still gonna go together. All right, I'm back in the studio from the garage. I got our two bars put together. They're looking good. Let's see how they look on the top of this body. Yeah, it's much, much closer to where I'd want it to be, which is awesome. I'm gonna take this tape off now since I kind of have an idea. We're gonna set this up a little bit more freehand and not so much mathematically with lines and stuff like that. I don't think it needs all that. All right, so what I do want to do is I would like to start figuring out how I'm going to tape all this. I'll go almost the full distance of what it is. Right about there is where I'm going to end up wanting it, which means I can put the tape within this little boundary here. Let's try to get this stuck on here nice. So this will also hold this together. I'm not going to glue it. I was thinking about it, but in case I ever want to take it apart, we can come back later down the road. Make sure that's on there nicely. And then if we were to put this on, try to line it up again. I'm just using these lines out here to help me. Our tape will hit inside, so that's good. We don't have to worry about the tape being outside of it and having to trim it or do anything like that. Let's do another piece, about the same length for the next one. So we'll do that. I'll get that pressed. Now this one has got a lot more bend in it from the mold process, so this one will be potentially a little harder to get to stick the way we want. Let's see. I'll try to line these up the best I can here so they look, you know, straight and the right way going across. And then I think I'll just try to stick them. And we'll play with the other stuff next. Try to use one of these cross lines on here to line me up. All right. There's one. Looks pretty good. Make sure it gets stuck all the way down. Make sure it's even on both sides. Make sure it's straight. Roof rails on a roof rack. Super cool. Feel pretty good. All right, here, let's see what they look like when you stack them. So this is where I'm gonna have a little trouble because there is a little bend in these, which is unfortunate. You can see it swoops up a bunch. So I'm gonna have to take a heat gun to that, I think. Or just sit here and work it for a bit. I don't know how long it'll hold, unfortunately. But we're gonna start there and we'll keep working it for now while I figure out how to get this attached to the roof. My thought is now put a little 3M pad of tape onto the bottom of each of these. Line it up, stick it, drop it where I want it. Get it nice and locked in on that. And then I'll come in with these little tiny micro screws. If I even have a screwdriver that'll work on them. That might work, yeah. I'm gonna put those in to just secure it a little bit more. I don't know how much they'll actually do. I feel like they'll just rip through the body, but we will attempt and see how that goes. All right, so that's looking good. It is sitting flat now, which is nice after I bent it a little bit. Get some 3M. I'm actually gonna get some rubbing alcohol since it's such a small patch of 3M. I don't want it to not have enough, you know, places to stick, not have enough adhesion. So we're gonna get some rubbing alcohol real quick and clean them off. All right, I got a little rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips to clean this up a bit. This will just help the 3M tape stick a little bit more. They already have a pretty rough surface, which is actually good. There's a little bit of smooth in there too, so it can kind of bite into it with the glue on it, but do that. Make sure we get the little fluffies off there. Let it dry off for a second. Then I'll start giving them little feet. Let's see. I want this to be small enough. So I'm just going to cut like a little cube off the end, like so. I'll just take this little cube, I'll stick it right there. It's about the perfect size too. Alright, now you will see that on the roof, but I don't think it'll be an issue. If it is an issue, then we can just back those screws out later, take these off, peel the little tape off, and just put the screws right back into the holes that they were in. This will just kind of help us line it up, I guess, if anything, if it doesn't look as good as we hope. But this tape is usually pretty solid, so we should be all right. Let's see. All right, there's all of them. This is kind of where we're kind of finally able to do this process of it and get it set up onto the actual body of it. All right, I had to reset a little bit. I'm gonna do something a little different on this one on the bottom because it was a little bit off center when I noticed it, and then I accidentally broke the pin out of it. So we're gonna freehand it across, get it nice and lined up with these guys. So let's do a final little bend check on these. Make sure those are all lined up right, and they are. Let's bring this over. Set those right where we want them. Give a nice little press. Okay, this tape can all come off. All right, let's pop this body off. We do have that 3M on there now, holding it, as you can see over there. I do want to go through, and I want to my hand underneath, press, and give those a nice little stick on there. Like so. All right. That's there now. That's on there pretty dang good. The next part is going to be putting these screws from the bottom into. All right, if you take a big light and you put it through, you will be able to see where those are though. So I'm going to do that right off to the side a little bit since it's a little bit easier for me to do it that way. And that is how I'm going to get these screws into the bottom of that roof rack. I've got all 4 screws installed underneath, and the roof rack is on. It's looking pretty good actually. I wouldn't go pretty strong on there. Now the next part will be getting this top portion onto it. Now it is actually like a 2-piece, which is really cool. So it kind of gives you a little, you could hide snacks in there if you wanted, who knows. Whatever you're feeling that day. I got a little bit of a 3M I'm going to clean up with a razor blade on that side. But for now, that's on. I just got to figure out how to get this to stay on. I don't know, I don't want to glue it because it could be fun to have the option to kind of customize it later. But for now, here's a quick look at it. Installed on the car. You can see. It's pretty sweet. Now let's get this front badge on. Or actually, let's start at the rear since it's a little more defined where it goes. Pop into this bag here with these badges in it. Alright. Free sticker. Alright, let's see. Slide this bad boy open. These are really, really cool. Look at these. Little BMW badges that look really, really realistic. Alright, so I'm going to take another Q-tip with some rubbing alcohol. We're going to clean this area here. Let that dry off. Let me throw this back on the body too so I don't have any more issues with it rolling around, or back on the chassis. Okay. This is where my tweezers will come in handy. Try to grab this from the bottom, like so. That's right. Onto there. That looks really cool. Let's get this second badge on there. It's gonna go right here in the center. I'll do my best on that. Let that off, give it a little clean. And we'll peel our next label, our next little badge. Like so. We're gonna want to lay this just in the center, like so, like that. There we go. Okay. Like so. Now we got our little BMW logo. Our nice badge on there. That looks super cool. Very nice. I am gonna figure out some way to get this body attached. I'm thinking I'll do like a little 3M just on this inside lip, and then I can either pull and stick it just so it holds for now. See if we could do that real quick, huh? Let's try it. Rubbing alcohol. Let's do that. That'll help it stick. We'll do this front a little bit. I'll do something up here to help it stick too. Pull. Again, nice and dirty. Have a better shot if you do this and clean it. All right, I'm gonna need a couple more Q-tips. All right, put it back. That's definitely sticking this time. It's also in a spot where you could wedge like a little pickup in there and tear it out if you wanted to take this top off and do any work or change anything or customize it. They're still going to be printing some stickers for all this and making some decals for the bodies and everything to kind of make it look more drifty. But until then, we're just going to kind of finish this little process up. Let me do some tape in the front. Spin this around like so. Things are really starting to look good though. Look at that. Top section looks real. Badges look real. It's super cool. Okay, so this kind of goes like this. And it's just gonna set right there. I might put this tape up here so it can just kind of stick. And I'll actually cut this in two because this is a little bit of a V. So let's cut this. I'll take my first piece. Get unstuck for me. Just set it in there like that. We'll do a piece here like so. A little bit extra. And hopefully this will find something to grab in there. And we won't have to be we won't be losing this lid all the time. Okay, there's that. There's that one. Let's get this one on the back of this car. If this is showing to you, you could take a little X-Acto and cut it out if you wanted. Just don't be too aggressive. All right, so this kind of hooks. It's the best way to get it on, I think, is kind of hook it like so, and then press it like so. Now, there actually is a lot hanging out the back, so I'm gonna have to trim that for sure. This top, yeah, it's kind of there. It's touching, it's right on that little inside rim. It's getting grabbing there. As you can see, there's a little bit of tape sticking out the back, so I'll have to trim that up. But that is pretty much on there. Look at that. I'm gonna need to get a license plate printed out for this, or something I can find from already pre-made. I gotta figure out how to get the lights in here. But for now, we're gonna leave this body like this and cut this episode of this work session here and kind of move on to the next part. And we'll get into the next video later, but for now, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna keep trying to work on this body. I'm gonna keep working on ideas, and we'll make another video the next time we do some work on it. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, let me know. I would love to try to help you. There's a rear badge on there. The roof rack. But yeah, this thing is looking really, really cool. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.